Hello, everyone. This is Johnnie Alexander, and I'm so excited to have you joining us today. My special guest is Regina Rudd Merrick, who writes contemporary romance, and she's going to talk to us about her series, the Southern Breeze series, and then about her upcoming series, and just about writing and all kinds of fun stuff. Regina, thank you so much for being with me today.
Looking forward to this.
I almost lost you there.
Oh, no.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into writing.
My start into writing was kind of through a back door, I guess. I don't know. It's my experience, so I don't know other people's experience. But of course, I've always been an avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I love television shows. I love procedurals.
Oh.
And I discovered a TV show called Sue Thomas FBI. It's EYE, not I.
Yeah, I've never seen that, but I know what show you're talking about.
It's a good show. It was on in the early 2000s, and it was based on a true story of an FBI analyst who was deaf. She was hired into the FBI as in their special programs, and it was discovered that she could read lips from a distance and interpret what they've said because she had always been able to do that. And so it was on for 4 seasons. It was just kind of, it was an FBI procedural show. And I loved it. Well, it ended before anybody was ready for it to end. It had quite a following of people like me, I guess. So my sister put me onto this fan fiction website.
Oh, what fun.
Yes. And it was the neatest thing because I started reading this fan fiction. It continued the stories and everything. And through that, I met Lorna Silstad. And, it's like I actually give her credit for getting me to my first ACFW.
Oh, and for those who don't know, ACFW stands for American Christian Fiction Writers, and it's like the premier organization for those of us who write Christian fiction.
It is. Through that website, she was writing fan fiction too, but she was using it to practice for the real thing. So through that, I met 3 other authors who were pursuing publication, and they invited me to be part of their group. And that was how I got into ACFW. And I started getting feedback on my stories I was writing, and people seemed to like what I was writing. So, and so I ended up, my first novel, Carolina Dream, came about because of a dream.
Oh, wow.
That's why I named it Carolina Dream, because I had this dream about this Annabella mansion. And I went into it, and it was like everything was out of place. And in my dream, I'm going up the stairs, and I'm seeing this stained glass window. But everything, it's like the bedroom furniture was in the dining room, and the dining room furniture was in the bedroom. It was just crazy. But you know how you get those dreams that you can't get out of your head? Yeah. So one day, I just wrote it all out. And I found it not too long ago where I had done that, and it was the craziest thing I've ever read. But, as a result of that, I started thinking, what if?
The big question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the question that probably starts every novel ever written.
Yeah.
And I said, what if a girl had a dream like this, but then she found out she had inherited this house from somebody she didn't even know existed.
Right.
And, therein lies the tale.
And we'll show it. Carolina Dream is the first book in the Southern Breeze series, which I love the name of the series, too. It's just so cool.
Thank you.
And a beautiful cover. I'm reading the book now, and we don't want to give away any spoilers, but I will say it's really, really good. You're a good writer. The story is really good, really in depth as far as how these characters are really exploring their as they're making big decisions, really depending on God and praying and trying to do His will, in that but it's not sickeningly sweet. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I've read those.
Yeah. It's just very natural, and it's very like, oh, this is really cool. So this is the first one. I have never heard anyone tell me that they started writing fan fiction and then went into writing novels. So I think that's pretty cool. But there was a bunch of you who were doing that.
Yeah. And it's so sad because that website's not up anymore.
I know.
I still have all of my stories, but a lot of those other great stories
they're gone.
Are gone.
Yeah. Oh, that is really, really cool. So now we got Carolina Dream, starting with the dream. Now, did you know from the get-go it was going to be a series, or were you just kind of concentrating on this one novel at first?
No, at first it was just this one novel. I had no idea. But, as I wrote Carolina Dream and got to know the characters in Carolina Dream, the second one had to come because Lucy and Tom were too great of characters to not give their own story.
And we're introduced to both of them in Carolina Dream. So the second book is called Carolina Mercy.
I don't have a book with me, but here's a postcard.
Postcard. There we go. I love the covers. I just love them. And then the third one
There's a hurricane involved.
Oh, yeah. I figured. I mean, it already. I was like, ooh, hurricane. Hurricanes in South Carolina.
Clouds are gathering.
Yeah. I've lived through hurricanes. I know what that's like. Carolina Grayston is the third one, which is not out yet, but will be out in okay, it's not out as we're recording this. It will be out in February 2019. Am I right?
Yes, February.
2019.
Yes. And the pre-order for the ebook is December 26th.
Okay, so that will be soon. This will go live on December 22nd. We'll go ahead and put the link in there for pre-orders so that people can do that. Why South Carolina? You live in Kentucky, and you lived in Kentucky. I know you've lived there a long time.
I have lived in Kentucky all my life except for 3 years when my family and I lived in Indiana.
Oh, okay. But you obviously have a love for South Carolina, and I can see that coming through. I feel like you vacation there a lot.
Oh, yes. It's really kind of interesting. The first time we went to the area that I wrote about was in 2003. And my parents were celebrating their 40th anniversary.
Oh, that's sweet.
The whole family, my sister and her family, she just had the one child who was a baby at the time. But we all went to Litchfield Beach, South Carolina. And we rented a big house and just all of us there together. And we just fell in love with it. It's a more laid back area. It's more residential. So it's not so, I don't know. I mean, there's still those big souvenir shops and stuff, but it's not the main thing. The area we stayed in was residential, so the beach was not loud, and
nice.
It was just a nice family atmosphere. And then we went back, just my family, a few years later, and stayed in a condo there on the same beach and had the same kind of experience. So I would move there in a heartbeat. It's halfway between Charleston and Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
So if you want to go play miniature golf, you can go north a little bit. If you want to go to a big city, you can go south a little bit. But it's great. Yeah,
that is great. And you can just tell, I mean, like knowing you lived in Kentucky, and as I'm reading this, and some of the things that you put into the other characters, like, and I will just go ahead and say it's not too big of a spoiler, the character's family goes there to celebrate her parents' anniversary.
Yes.
So they had been there before.
Yes.
She finds out about this inheritance. And it's just like, I bet she has spent a lot of time.
Not as much as I would like.
That's really cool that when that love for
I do have the South Carolina relocation guide saved on my computer.
You're ready. You're ready to go. Oh my gosh, that's cute. That is so cute. Well, let's talk about some other things you like to do. I was on your website. So one thing I thought was really cute was that you live in an area where there are more deer than people.
definitely. I live in Crittenden County, Kentucky. That is not Crittenden, Kentucky, because the town of Crittenden is in another county.
Really?
In Kentucky.
Oh my God.
So the guy that was on Survivor from Kentucky a few years ago, he was not from where I'm living.
Okay.
But Crittenden County is in the western part of the state, closer to Paducah.
Okay.
So I grew up in the area around Paducah, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we have about 9,200 people in our whole county.
Wow.
But statewide, there were more deer. We are the second highest deer harvest during hunting season.
Wow. Wow.
So yes, there are definitely more deer. So, we always tease that the county motto is watch out for deer. Because everybody knows somebody that's hit a deer.
Let's hit one. That's too bad, but yeah.
Yeah. He did a really good job of reintroducing them.
Too good a job, yeah. What are some other things you like to do? Music, I saw.
Yes, I'm very highly involved in the music program in our church. And I'm a keyboard player, pianist, organist, keyboard. I'm involved with our praise band and our choir. So if it's, I did 20 years of children's music, and I finally stopped doing that. And it was good. Let the younger ones come along and take care of that.
And do that.
But yes.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
It's probably the biggest thing I do besides writing, and I'm a former librarian. So.
Yeah, that's fun too. Yeah.
It really, being a public librarian, gave me so much more insight into the world of Christian fiction.
How so?
Really, I mean, I really, I was already reading Christian fiction, but during the 13 years I was a public library director, it grew exponentially.
Yeah. Wow.
Not just in my library, but, the industry grew exponentially. So it was really an interesting time. I was able to really bring a lot of it into our library.
Oh,
we
that's
started out with one little section, and now it's got 2 full rows of just Christian fiction.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That really, really is. Yeah, and just I want to be careful how I say this, but I think just the quality has also, I think the quality of literature all around to some extent, but just the writing and the stories and
the variation.
Yeah.
There's so many more genres and subgenres now than
there are.
When I started at the library, D. Henderson was probably the only suspense author, and and it was mostly bonnets and Amish and and that's great. But now there's so much more. There's fantasy, and there's and there's mystery, and there's cozy mystery.
Cozy mystery, they're all kinds. So it's great how the industry has grown and how there is just a place for anybody really who wants to write inspirational fiction. There's a place for you to do that. That's cool. That's great. So what's next? You're wrapping up the Southern Breeze series, and
yes, I've got 2 things going. I'm writing a novella to go in a collection that Mantle Rock Publishing is putting out in September, and it's 4 different stories, 4 different authors, and all of them take place on some kind of island or beach.
Nice.
So mine may or may not have some ties to the Southern Breeze series.
I was wondering as soon as you said that if you would keep it together with that. That'd be cool.
So that's coming up in September, and I'm also working on a brand new series. Tentatively, the series is called Renovations.
Oh.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten very far in it, but it centers around a brother and sister contracting team. He's the contractor, she's the designer. And I got the idea from a show on HGTV, which is one of my other things that
They're fun to watch.
yeah, I like to watch other people work. Is what
Yes.
it is. Same way with Cooking Channel. But it's kind of, I think it's going to be a little more suspense, a little more mystery.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to keep it kind of lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that sounds fun too. That's great.
Lisa and Del Reno are the main characters.
I like that, renovation. So
Yeah.
again, I want to show the cover to Carolina Dream. Really good story. Very just lighthearted but deep, both. I mean, and very sweet, and love the characters, and the writing is very, very good. So I always like that. So, really glad to be in the midst of reading this story right now.
It's really kind of interesting how I've been able to go a little deeper in each book as far as the spiritual context. So I'm anxious and excited both for the third one to come out.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So anyway, everyone will want to get a copy of that. Start the series, and then you'll be all up to date, and then be able to read them all when Carolina Grace comes out. And
great Christmas gifts.
I'm sorry?
Great Christmas gifts.
Absolutely great Christmas gifts. Very good Christmas gifts. Regina, one last question. When you're all done and you've typed the end, what do you do to unwind?
I probably binge watch something on Netflix.
Yeah. That is a popular answer, yeah.
Compression. Let's see, I finished Chuck again, and I finished Psych again. I'm not sure what my next binge will be. Might have to watch Monk again. I'm not sure.
Oh, you know what I did? Getting a little bit off topic. I was really sick it's been a while. Arrived at my sister's house to take care of her animals while she went on a business trip. And I got there and I was like about as sick as I've ever been in my life. Like fever, I mean, just bad. And she leaves me because she has to go.
Yeah.
And I just laid on the couch and watched Monk. I mean, for like 3 days.
It's like comfort TV, you know?
Yeah. Took care of the animals when I had to, and otherwise and thankful for the neighbor that came and brought me food. It was not fun.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
The Monk was fun. Yeah, it was fun binge watching it. Oh, that's cool. That's great. Well, thanks again for being with me. I wish you just the best. Hope to see you. Regina and I got to meet at the Mid-South Christian Writers Conference last year. So
I'm planning on going. I haven't registered yet, but it's on the to-do list.
Oh, good. I hope to see you then. So,
yes.
And Merry Christmas to everybody whenever you're watching this video. It's Christmas time right now, so Merry Christmas.
It is. You can see my wrapping debris in the back. So this is office guest room wrapping center. So
and I've got a Christmas stocking here that belonged to my dad that I gave him when I was a freshman in college as a Christmas present, and he kept it all those years. And when he passed away, and my mom passed away not too long ago, I found it and I took it.
That's sweet. I love that.
Yeah, it's mine now. Regina, thanks so much, and thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas, and we wish you a Happy New Year. And come back for another edition of Novelists Unwind. Bye-bye.